Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our weekly Q&A with the Family Support Team at the St. Louis ARC. I'm Sharon Spurlock, the Senior Director of Family Education, and I'm really excited to share a little bit of internal information for our ARC team members and also our ARC participants and families about some steps we've made to continue to support our employees, because the better we support our employees, the better our services are going to be for you. I'm going to turn things over to the team to introduce themselves, and I'm just going to go by order on my screen. So, Ross, you're first up. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hello there. I am Ross Whalen. My preferred pronouns are they, them. I am one of the vocational support specialists over here at Central CE. I've been with the ARC for almost 4 years now. But before I was a vocational support specialist, I began as a CSS. Then I transitioned into the role of outcome specialist with community engagement, and now I'm with the Path to Employment team.
Fantastic. And a CSS is a community support specialist. That's the direct support role in the day services.
That's correct.
Yay, I can barely keep up, so I'm very pleased with myself. Thank you, Ross.
My
Hi,
pleasure.
Hannah. How about you going next?
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Satterwhite. Pronouns are she, her. I am the Assistant Director of Advocacy and Education at St. Louis ARC, and I'm on the Family Supports team. I started at the ARC in 2021 as a practicum student intern for one semester. I did some advocacy and worked with the family supports team then, and that's actually where I got introduced to READI as well. I sat in on a listening session in 2021 and like a brainstorming all staff session that was really amazing, and I thought it was so cool. And I came back the next year, a year later, and I've now been with the ARC officially for 3 years and a part of READI that whole time.
My name is Alicia Broughton. My pronouns are she, her. I've been with the ARC for 7 years. I actually started as a kitchen manager at Chalk Garden and then transitioned to adult services. I am the director of nutrition here at the ARC and a registered dietitian. I am the facilitator of READI and also the team lead for the BIPOC ERG.
I am Amanda Dieters, pronouns she, her. I am the Assistant Director of Advancement. I started in employment services in a direct support role and then moved into a management role in that department and then moved into this role. And I work a lot on planning all of our fun, special events and fundraising events for the ARC. And I've been with the ARC for about 7.5 years. And I get to lead the wonderful group, the Women's ERG that we call WOA, Women of Arc.
I am Tony Tolles. I started at All Central. Well, technically, I started at Glen Ty, helping them out during the heart of COVID. That's actually the first time I met Alicia was there. And then I went back to All Central once day program kind of opened back up as a CSS. I then moved up to the team lead at All Central while I was there. And then from there, I have moved up to the outcome specialist, where I currently am at the Maplewood Hub for South CE. I am actually in my 5-year mark with the St. Louis ARC this month. I am also the lead for the LGBTQIA ERG.
I want to set the tone for this presentation by just talking about what our READI committee is, where it came from, and kind of how it's evolved into this new format. So I'm going to turn to Alicia for that. Alicia, can you talk to us a little bit about what READI, how it got formed, and what was happening when you joined, and maybe some of the things that you think have been highlights over the last few years?
For sure. So READI stands for Race, Equity, Access, Diversity, and Inclusion. And when we restructured, we started with ERGs, and you'll hear that used a lot today, and that stands for Employee Resource Group. So in December 2024, the group of us here voted on what resource groups we thought would be helpful for the employees that we had. And the ones we decided on were BIPOC, which stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color, LGBTQIA+, women, and neurodiversity. So those groups were supposed to be resource groups for the employees that we had based on surveys that we put out. And the task force, the overarching READI task force, would help the ERGs put on their events and find resources for the policies they wanted to put in place and things of that nature. And we got a new budget, so we were able to put on a lot more events. The first event we all put on together was Oktoberfest. If anybody was able to come to that, that was really fun, and we hope to do that again this year. And that was our first like all together event. But that is the branching of how we got to the place we are now.
Thank you so much. I think, Hannah, you're going to show us a couple slides and we're going to walk through the individual ERGs. I do want to say something you said, Alicia, that a lot of these activities around these ERGs include people who are utilizing our services. So if we're going to host a drag bingo or a Oktoberfest, it's going to include everybody, which I think is very exciting.
Absolutely. So the ERGs are explicitly for our employees. However, a lot of the events we put on include the people that we support because they are so important to the work that we do.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen. We're going to share a few slides here about what the ERGs are. So what is an ERG? These are employee resource groups. They are voluntary, employee-led groups whose aim is to foster a diverse and inclusive workplace. So again, if you have no interest or you don't have time, it is okay to not participate. However, we do hope that this is accessible to as many staff as want to participate. These groups meet once a month. So BIPOC is the second Monday of every month from 2 to 3. WOE is the third Wednesday of every month from 2 to 3. LGBTQIA plus is the third Monday of every month from 2 to 3. And neurodiversity is the last Monday of every month from 2 to 3. And we all meet on Teams right now. Does anybody meet on Zoom? Everybody meets on Teams, I think. Yeah. So those are all virtual at the time being. And
I think it's interesting. I'm assuming that they're all at that time frame because that's sort of an opportunity where we're hoping to catch a larger number of staff transitioning to and from work.
Yes, we've done our best to make those as accessible as possible to as many staff as we can. These are open to change if the group decides and if people need to over time. We may decide to change these slightly, but we've had success with this time frame for the most part. But I think you can always reach out to if you have concerns, questions, or if you want to participate but none of these timeframes work for you, you can definitely reach out. And then we do events outside of these timeframes at any and all times as well. So any of these groups that plan an event, it could be at any point.
Alicia would like to jump in and add something.
BIPOC has actually been experimenting with recording their meetings so that people that can't come to the time. I actually had Annie actually helped me add the recordings to our page on Art Connect. So the idea is anybody who can't come to the meeting at 2 to 3 will be able to add the recordings of our videos to our Art Connect page. So moving forward, we're going to help implement that across the board for all the ERGs. So just know that if you're not able to come to that particular time of the month, everybody will be able to participate or at least view the meetings moving forward.
Yeah. That's interesting because I always think that that's such a hard balance between confidentiality and accessibility. So I'll be interested to see how that works. Before we move on, Hannah, I did want to ask for hourly employees, do they get paid if they want to attend these?
Yes, the goal is to make these possible for you to get paid to attend these meetings. And I would just say, if you have questions about how that would work, please speak to your supervisor about it. Let us know how we can work with your supervisor to make this happen for you. We'll do our best. But yeah, definitely we want you to participate and we want you to get paid.
It's back to Alicia. Tell us about the BIPOC ERG.
So again, I want to say that BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color, and this includes all racial, ethnic minorities, people of multiracial backgrounds, the global majority, and our mission is to make sure that we have an intentional safe space at work to build that sense of community and improve work conditions, raise cultural awareness, combat unconscious bias and systematic racism, to make sure that everybody feels comfortable bringing their culture to work and their identity to work. We want more diverse leadership and make long-lasting change and improve employee morale. So we're going to go do this through town hall meetings, more diverse trainings, things of that nature, and education, cultural education. We some of the events that we've done or some of the things that we've done so far in the last year, we have offered highlighted Black History Month. We've highlighted Juneteenth. We have also done Spend Time in Nature in May. We also have partnered with several different Black-owned businesses, and there's another event coming up in July, on July 23rd. We also have an event with Sean Gold and another Black-owned business. Scoops is coming to give us some Italian ice, so just be on the lookout for that. And also, we're tabling Black Pride in August for the first time.
It sounds very busy.
Just a bit.
You know, it's funny. I remember after the George Floyd was killed, we had some town hall meetings that I think were really important to a lot of our team members. And I think that was probably the first real iteration of this concept of BIPOC ERG. So it's nice to see that it's evolved into something very structured.
Yes, we plan to bring back those town hall meetings, especially when we have things that come up in the news that are so triggering. And we need a place that you can talk with like-minded people about things that you can't talk about in other places. So we will be bringing back some of those listening sessions, but I appreciate you bringing it up.
Tony, are you up? Tell us about the LGBTQIA plus ERG.
Alphabet soup. Hi. So, of course, our mission is to create an inclusive and affirming environment at St. Louis ARC, where the Alphabet Mafia staff and allies and people we support and community members can feel seen, heard, and valued. We aim to promote awareness, understanding, advocacy for the Alphabet Mafia and a whole lot of their soup issues, ensuring that our workplace and services are equitable, empowering, and reflective of the diverse communities we serve. We intend to target that through collaborative research, and we'll work to develop those policies with mostly our directors to kind of uplift everybody that's here. So kind of what we've done within our ERG in particular, we've recently hosted a drag show. It was a drag bingo show, actually, to be more specific. We had 3 different time slots. That's something that our ERG kind of worked back and forth with one another about, because we wanted to include as many people as we possibly could in that event. So we wanted to target a morning audience, a midday audience, and then for those folks that did not want to come with participants, that evening audience as well. We are also we have already booked our spot at Tower Grove, where we will be partnering with the Neurodiversity crew as well to, again, represent the ARC, while also adding in that extra piece of reminding people that we do have neurodiverse staff as well as serving neurodiverse participants. So we're looking at that. We've done a few meetups within the LGBTQ ERG. We've gone to drag shows that was hosted by Carlton and ones that Carlton has also just been a part of. We've also had a Q&A with Carlton as well. So yeah, we've done a lot there. Our ERG has also invited Mark to attend one of the meetings where the staff are able to kind of talk with Mark about some concerns that they've had in the general public as well as within the company as well. So we've addressed some things there with Mark, and we're talking with Mark / with the directors on how to potentially introduce a gender-neutral restroom into the Warson building. It is a firm push on us to have that for our agency, strictly just because we service people of all kinds of gender, creeds, and backgrounds, and they should feel comfortable being able to walk into any restroom within Warson, or at the very least one, and know that they can comfortably support their participants or simply just supporting themselves, which is a huge deal. But yeah, we tried to in our ERG at least hit at least once or multiple times, preferably on kind of doing a mental health check-in, especially with our current administration. A lot of our folks are a little uneasy about that for any number of reasons. So we try to do a check-in there, and we also try to provide as many resources as we can collectively as a group to kind of help people know like where you can comfortably use the restroom, where you can comfortably be yourself, and where you can also get some additional therapy and services if that ever were to be a thing that you were looking forward to.
And I don't know if Tony mentioned it, but Carlton McKinney is one of our employees who was Mr. Pride 2024. So he took full advantage of his royalty role, and he did a lot of really cool outreach for us. Full disclosure, I'm part of this ERG and really have enjoyed being a part of it. One of the really unexpected but fun opportunities for me was to connect our ERG with a meetup we have for individuals with developmental disabilities who also identify as part of this community. We've been going out and doing fun stuff together, and our group met on Sunday, and I think it was probably half and half folks we support and folks who work at the ARC. So it's a very inclusive and nice space to be in. So thank you, Tony.
So again, I lead the women's ERG that we call WOA, or Women of ARC. Our main focus really is creating a safe space and a community for women to feel supported and uplifted. The ARC is made up of about 80+% women. So this obviously is an important group to create, but really just creating experiences and opportunities for women to connect and talk and share resources and uplift each other and themselves has been our main focus. We created a March Music Madness competition for Women's History Month in March that was super fun, where everybody in the agency got to be involved, voting on our ultimate empowering women's song, which ended up being Respect from Aretha Franklin, which is also one of our core values, which worked out really well. But that was super fun, especially for me who didn't know much about March Madness brackets, that situation. So it was a learning and growth opportunity for me, myself. And we've had a lot in the group, we've had a lot of discussions on various like mental health topics. And we are looking forward to rolling out some mini chats in our monthly meetings where anybody can attend that will kind of focus on like women-focused topics. So women's health and mental health topics or leadership skills. And then we're also looking to roll out maybe some more expert-led conversations where we can partner with others, whether it's internally in different departments or in the community, to have conversations on maybe it's more leadership skills, or maybe it's financial wellness, or any of those topics that women face on the daily. So continuing to create the space to have those conversations, as well as creating opportunities. We're looking to partner with our volunteer manager to hopefully deliver some flowers or have a flower bouquet making opportunity with our group, but then also partnering with some of the residential members. When you're uplifting others, you're also uplifting yourself. So that's kind of the thought behind that. And lots of other opportunities. Hopefully we can create opportunities for women to, again, just feel uplifted and supported and learning and growing together.
Very nice. Thank you. All right. Now, Ross, you're going to wrap us up.
So I help host the Neurodiversity ERG over here at the ARC. And our vision is neurodiversity is a concept that people experience and interact with the world around them in many different ways. Right? It recognizes that the neurological differences such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and more are natural variations of the human brain. As the St. Louis ARC Neurodiversity ERG, we aim to create a safe space for neurodiverse employees to share their experiences, empower each other, and advocate for more inclusive and diverse work environments. So we mostly meet online. We've had a few in-person meetings, which were kind of nice. We went down to Chevy's a couple of weeks ago. And mostly I'm going to say it's really a great way for those who identify as neurodivergent or allies just to sort of talk, vent, and share resources to podcasts, books, that sort of thing, right? We're all kind of trying to help uplift each other. But we've also been involved in a few efforts as well. We have back in February, we took a group down to Jeff City for legislation day, right? Self-advocacy day. We went down there. We got to meet our local representatives and shake them, be, hey, we need support here. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was actually 2 weeks ago, we kind of had an impromptu group go down to the office over in the city too, to see if we could scope out Josh Hawley and Senator Schmidt as well, and just remind them that, hey, we need this funding and not to cut us because we're all relying on this kind of support. We are also going to be partnering up, as Tony said earlier, at Tower Grove Pride. Our idea is to create a cooling area, maybe give some fidgets and some noise canceling earbuds, and just have a quiet place where people can go during Pride to unwind and relax. So we also meet at the last Monday of each month. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend you come check us out.
I was just going to say how much I appreciate the collaboration between the two ERGs, because not everybody knows, but they're 30% more likely to identify as part of the LGBTQIA plus community if you identify as neurodiverse. So there is a big crossover there, and it's nice that listening to all of you, it sounds like there have been a fair amount of collaboration. Join a group.
Yeah, and there's a QR code right there. So if you're sitting there looking at your computer screen, feel free to scan.
Excellent. I wanted to ask, Tony mentioned a specific issue that was important to ARC employees that was brought to the attention of people in the LGBTQIA ERG. In other ERGs, have there been suggestions or ideas that you all have brought up to management, executive leadership, that from the information you've gathered in these groups?
Well, one thing I can definitely mention is we included it in our next year plan for CQL, was about cultural awareness, especially around Black hair. So if you remember from the plan, we talked about cultural awareness in general, but definitely classes around why hair for different cultures are so important, and teaching the people who work so closely with the people we support how to do Black hair. But we also talked about, Jewish burial policies and how those are different. And we talked about why certain people don't eat pork. So it goes deeper than just one culture's differences, but it spreads to different things. So we have a huge Jewish population that we support here, especially in residential, but in a small group of people, Black people, but the amount of care it would take to know how to do a Black person's hair would make such a difference. And understanding why one house wouldn't have any pork products and where to go get beef bacon from in St. Louis would make such a big difference. That's something that we talked about a lot, and not just in my ERG, but that moved on all the way up to the 4-year short plan for CQL.
That's such a great example. Across all three of those areas, you can see how having an understanding of that really does allow you to respectfully support people, whether they're employees or people that are receiving services. Beautiful example.
Ross mentioned this a little bit, but in the Neurodiversity ERG, we've been talking a lot with one another about how we can best be supported as neurodivergent employees, and also how we can kind of support and understand each other. So we've spoken to one another just kind of internally so far about executive functioning and time management and stress management and things like that. But that I could see that definitely leading to training opportunities for management or individual employees, just opportunities to learn about what it is like to support a neurodivergent employee and or to be one in the office and how to navigate that. So I would say stay tuned because I could see a lot coming out of that conversation.
Ginger wanted to know if you all are primarily seeing people that identify as part of the affinity group that you're in, or if you're getting many allies that come to the meetings. Hannah, did you want to answer that or something else?
I can answer on behalf of just one group, but I'm not sure about all the groups. I would say many people in our group have disclosed that they identify as neurodivergent. However, we're not going to ask anyone to self-identify if they don't want to. So you are welcome as an ally if you don't experience, neurodiversity in your own life, but you do in your workplace because of the people we support. So literally anyone is able to join. You don't have to say if you're an ally or if you are neurodivergent, but if you want to, you can. But I would say probably more than half are. And then since we're on it, Alicia put in the chat to just us that we did a lot of mental health month activities and provided some things to staff, like the sleep kits that came from READI. The Yes Honey classes came from READI. So we're trying to promote a whole agency-wide mental well-being and self-care. So
can you tell us what Yes Honey is for those that don't know?
Yes, Honey, there were some kind of joyful movement classes and sort of dance movement classes that were offered. Allie Alderman sent some emails out about those a couple of months ago, and a few of the events were for people we support and staff, and some were just for staff.
Thank you. Tony, you want to jump in on this?
Sure. So as far as ours go, I think most of our folks identify within that LGBTQ umbrella. And then others are allies. But again, very much like Hannah, we do not ask anybody to disclose anything. That's strictly up to them. That's their choice. We also have kind of, me mostly on the back end, me and Allie have kind of started talking to the training department and training team to kind of figure out a way to allow people to express their pronouns, because we know that is something that comes up a lot with our staff, and they get quite uncomfortable when people refer to them as the incorrect pronouns. But also on the flip side, our training team / management don't actually know how to approach that without making it feel awkward. First things first, if you do it by accident, just say sorry, don't harp on it. Makes everything really awkward. Just don't do it. 2, Alicia is actually helping us with this, but we're trying to create buttons that just have pronouns on them, so you can politely just wear a button or pick up a button if that's easier for you to just kind of introduce people to who you are and not allowing their brain to kind of wonder about who you may be.
Fantastic. The first time I put my pronouns on my work email address, I had somebody come out and disclose to me that day because they felt comfortable because I had shared my pronouns. So that's part of what happens when we embrace some of these things. People recognize that you're going to be okay with that. Alicia.
I can definitely say for the BIPOC group, we've had moms of adopted Black kids or mixed race kids. We've had people who have married other races. We've had allies. We've had a whole gambit of people just interested in different races or different holidays or different religions. So we've had the whole gambit. And I can definitely say the conversations that we've had, because how our meetings are usually structured, we do business in the front, and then we do a little bit of discussion at the end. And sometimes I try to find a pop culture topic to talk about. And some of those discussions can't be the same if there's not an ally in the room. And it changes if there's an ally in the room. And not to say it can't be a safe space, but those conversations can't be had and those questions can't be answered if there's not an ally in the room. So I think that it's always helpful to go where, it is still a safe space, and go where you need to get your questions answered. So there's a mixture. I also want to speak on the sleep kits and the Yes Honey classes. It was brought to our attention over multiple ways that burnout and being stressed, not just at work, but about outside things, by our employees. So we wanted to find a way as the READI committee to try to mitigate some of that. So we gave out sleep kits. Hopefully everybody got those and have used them. So they had sleep masks to, help with, blocking out the light. And it had some lavender shower steamers and things of that nature to help relieve some of that stress. Like, we can't, physically de-stress you, but hopefully that sleep kit helped a little bit. And the Yes Honey classes were great and well attended. A lot of our people we support came and did the car wash and, boogie down. They loved it. So we plan to do that again in the future. We hadn't partnered with Yes Honey before, but they loved having the inclusive classes. And we had 20 to 30 people come each time. We did one yoga and one dance, and those were great. Very accessible even to people who had low mobility. So those were awesome. So we'll do those again, just finding ways to help, like I said, reduce that stress and help with that. Still some of those mental stressors that people have. And lastly, I want to talk about those pronoun buttons. I put in a quote today, actually, for about 300 pronoun buttons. So hopefully we'll get that back. We have one of the only, at least in the Midwest, we have one of the only button maker people who make the button machines here in St. Louis, down on, I think it's Missouri Avenue, that I went to yesterday to actually see the button machines. So we're getting those in as soon as possible. Prayerfully, they'll be here before both of the prides, Black Pride and Tower Grove Pride, so we can hand those out, and we'll have them stationed around Maplewood, Ellisville, Warson hubs before the end of the year. That's the goal.
Fantastic. I want to give a shout out to the BIPOC committee, because I think you've done something that's really exceptional. And I'm sure all of your groups have done it. And if you want to give a shout out, please do. But I think that crossover between the Black community businesses and the St. Louis ARC is so important, because we're lifting it, like Amanda said, we're lifting other people up and supporting their businesses because we are sharing the same mission and the same goals there. And that's pretty cool to see that happening. So kudos to y'all. Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about when you came on today? I'm wondering if there's been anything that came up in your groups that surprised you, if there were some aha moments where you didn't realize that you needed that affinity space for a certain topic to bubble up, or anything else that you guys want to jump in on here.
I just wanted to say just one thing. For those that are intimidated to talk to Mark, please don't be intimidated. He may have the straightest face in the world, but he's really actually quite kind. So if there is something that is bugging you, and there is something that you feel like you need to have addressed, and you feel like you cannot talk to your immediate supervisor, please talk to Mark. He is willing to listen. He's willing to give you some answers. He's willing to give you feedback. And if he doesn't have it, he will tell you, I don't know. And he'll get back to you when he does have an answer. And if he just never has an answer, then I don't know what we're going to do. But he's more available than people actually give him credit for. He is quite busy. I'm not going to deny that. But more often than not, if you reach out to Mark and just let him know that something is bugging you and you'd like to see something changed about whatever it is, he is available. He is listening, and he wants that feedback. He seeks that feedback. So please reach out to Mark. If you can't get a hold of your supervisor, if you can't get a hold of one of the ERG leaders, use every resource you have to get anything out that needs to come out.
Thank you, Tony. And that doesn't have to be within the ERGs. That's for anybody. And I just do want to give kudos to Mark and the entire executive team because we're in some pretty challenging times right now, and their commitment of not just time for us to take to be in these meetings, but a budget of money really speaks to our commitment to this, which makes me really proud. Amanda, you're up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think the other cool thing about all of these groups are just the opportunities that we're all creating, and I'm having myself, of just the learning opportunities and the educational opportunities that we're having in our groups, but we're also creating for others. So even if you're not in the group, there's been, Rise TV slides or emails or any other type of visual or information that's gone out to get people learning about these groups and the people that are in them and the people that work at the ARC. I think we've all done a great job of creating those opportunities and putting that information out there. So whether people are not sure if they want to get involved or they're just learning by reading what's on a screen, I think we've all done a really great job with creating those. And I think when you're learning and we're providing those resources, you're learning everybody else's perspectives, which opens up so many doors and opportunities for policy changes and, procedures and different opportunities that can be had when everybody's understanding where everybody else, we're hearing where everybody else is coming from. I think we've all done a really great job with that, which kind of leads right into what Alicia shared with the Common Language Guide that I will turn over to her. She wants to kind of explain more about that.
So one of the first things that READI did was definitely put together some common language, some words that sometimes get misconstrued or that some people misunderstand. And we are constantly evolving our language, not just as the ARC, but as English, American English in general. But as of this year, we definitely added some more words to our Common Language Guide. You can find that Common Language Guide on READI's ARC Connect page. And we will be putting this out again in January to make sure that we're up on all the new lingo. But it basically just makes sure that we're using person first, respectful language, and we're using the proper terms for everything. And I implore everybody to just go read it, give it a once over, make sure that you're aware of the terms. I think it's a good resource for people to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you don't want to ask a lot of questions because it seems embarrassing. I remember when that guide came out, and I was really glad to be able to kind of ponder the definition of microaggressions and think about it in different ways. Because, I knew what it was, but I hadn't really been able to kind of settle in and think about it. So I think it's really valuable. I can't believe it, have used our 45 minutes up, but I want to ask one more question before we go. What if these 4 groups don't really address my affinity group that I want to meet with? What if I want to start a new group? What can I do?
There is a way to start a new group. So there is a form on ARC Connect that you can fill out. You just need a mission statement and 5 people, like-minded people who want to join with you. And there's a fill in the blank kind of form that basically walks you through how to fill out your mission statement and how to make your meeting time and things of that nature. But there is a possibility that you can make a new group if you're interested.
Thank you. Thanks so much, you guys. I really appreciate your time. Just listening to all the things you're involved in with your groups, I know how busy you all are. So I appreciate you coming and sharing with everybody today. And now that I feel welcome to all the groups, I might pop into the ones that I haven't been in yet. So that's kind of exciting. Thanks, everybody.